Now, the class of 2020 survived a pandemic, and the vast majority are now in possession of matric certificates. But many don't know where to turn now, with South Africa offering very little promise in terms of jobs. That's where the School Active publication fits in. We're joined now by the publisher, Thulani Ntsimbi. Thank you for being with us. It's always said that there's a gap between what's being produced in terms of skills and qualifications and what South Africa needs. People study, they just can't find employment. How does your publication address that?
Well, we address this in a number of ways. First of all, congratulations to the class of 2020. And our approach is quite different because, first of all, we look at those that have to repeat, those that have to seek employment, those that will go the entrepreneurial road, and also those that have to go to institutions of higher education. So that we divide this publication into 5 very distinct sections. So with regard to those that will be going to university, we introduce things like your university jargon, what to do and what not to do in the varsity, in and out of the residence. And also, we look at the issues of the TVET colleges as well. And then also it came to the issues of those that have to seek employment. We also guide them on how to go about looking for employment, as well as going the entrepreneurial route.
Okay, so there's something for everybody. How accessible is it to those school leavers?
You see, it's available. People can subscribe online, and then that's how we actually that's how they can actually procure it. From our website and also from our Facebook page. We would love to send it to every school, to everyone, but then unfortunately due to financial constraints and other things, it can only be available online. But it's got everything that the learners will really need.
So how long has School Active been going for, and how's it doing? Okay,
we are a 15-year business, and we've been doing quite well. It's just that we don't reach these kids as much as we would like them. The reach and the frequency is a problem for us because we are a small company, but we are actually getting there. We would have loved, especially kids from the deep rural areas. They don't really have the information. You see, once kids, it's all good when we celebrate the class of 2020, they've all passed, but at the end of the day, what do they do, where do they go, and how do they go about it? They just don't know.
Yeah.
You see, that is the problem.
Presumably, if a funder came forward and liked what you do, they could fund the publication and take it to those rural and township schools where, like you say, it's needed.
Yes, ma'am. And besides, it's actually 2 publications in one. The School Active, the magazine that talks about how to start a business, your study tips, your 4th industrial revolution, and other career choices, as well as we also zoom in on the most important thing, the dropping out of school. Because once there are hundreds, you must remember there are more than 100,000 matriculants that didn't make it, and they need to be motivated. They need an outlet that will actually galvanize them to actually have the nerve to repeat. So we also cover that very extensively in our publication, because we not only look at those that are going to varsities, TVET colleges, and also look at those that will have to go and look for a job, and those that would want to start business, and those that obviously would have to repeat. So we'll really plan on a worst-case scenario basis.
Is there information out there to address this gap? People get qualifications that are not needed by the country. Are we starting to get an idea of what companies want, what skills are required, and that could help young people make the important decisions and go for a job or go for a qualification where they are more likely to get a job?
Yes, you see, the biggest problem is the inequality in the country. The haves and the have-nots. If you go to township schools and deep rural areas, they've got nothing. They have no reference whatsoever. They just don't know what to do. Well, there are exceptions, but this should be normal for kids to know what they have to do. This should not really be an exception. It should be normal. But what we see in our country, only, for instance, our publication is accessed online by those that can afford. And the intended recipients, obviously, they miss out on it, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, are you looking for funding to address that? Are you actively searching for it?
Yeah, basically, what usually happens. For instance, when we launched this, we had a number of people that funded. For instance, they were in Soweto, in some other places. People will just fund the entire class of 2020. For instance, we're in Curtis Nkondo. There's a guy that actually his name is Badela. He funded the entire class of 2020. So there are a lot of them that are funding, but that's not enough, because then there are more than 6,000 high schools. We've got more than 600,000 matriculants that wrote, and we've got more than 100,000 that have to repeat. So there's just so much that needs to be done. So not every funder, not every angel will reach every school, especially those in the deep rural areas and in the township. So in the end, the poor kids are the ones left holding the wrong end of the stick.
All right, well, we wish you success in trying to get this out there. The publisher of School Active, that was Thulani Ntsimbi.